I think so like 99.9% of dudes are like, hey, I like that chick, but I'm not going to tell you that I like you, but you're going to see that
I'm going to act
how I act.
I'm going to act a certain way, and that's going to somehow
attract you, even though you have no idea I even exist right now.
I meditate to clear that pain up in my body. I wanna go somewhere where that sunlight be shining. This life a journey, I need someone to remind me. This life a journey, I need someone to remind me. To take it slower, I be moving too fast. Keep on going at this rate and I'll crash.
On that same line of thought, I was going back to what I was saying about not taking yourself seriously. Because if you don't take yourself seriously, too seriously, obviously have a sense of pride, but don't become a douche about it,
don't put yourself above others.
Exactly. If you don't take yourself seriously, that eliminates so much anxiety. If you take yourself lightly, don't worry about getting embarrassed. Don't worry about how people think about you. Yeah. You just do you. Yeah. And if you make an ass of yourself, or if people laugh, even if they respect you by you just being making light of yourself, or making that makes other people feel more comfortable around you to not know that you're not a pretentious cunt.
That's basically my life philosophy, really.
Yeah.
It kind of ties back into that thing that I told you, where I'm kind of if you put the camera on me, I'll do basically anything you tell me to do. It's a 99% chance, right? That's it ties into the way I live my life, really. The fact that if somebody gives me a situation to do, I'll put some thought into it, because you can't take yourself too seriously. You can't really worry too much about
outside perception.
Yeah, an outside perception. Exactly. Yeah, as the word I was looking for was consequences. Yeah, consequences
to a certain extent.
I was gonna say consequences, but not
maybe what people think.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the sentence I was trying to think of. What I mean by how the consequences of what people will think about you afterwards.
How much they'll care.
How much they'll care, what they'll think. Yeah, exactly. That's the type of consequences that you shouldn't worry about. But it's that's just kind of the way. It's kind of the way I live, I just if you don't do the thing that you're thinking about doing, then you're gonna live your whole life being man, I didn't really get out and live my life the way I wanted to.
Dude.
And I realized that during high school at a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a situation that kind of led to this discovery.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I wrote about it once before. I don't remember what it was for, but it just helped me develop my life's philosophy.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of
you're very authentic, right? And that's something I was talking to Cole about in the last episode. I have struggled with my authenticity. Around you, around Dalton, around you, I'm authentic, right? I found my authenticity in nature, by taking my attention off my thoughts, right? And what you said right there, not directly, but indirectly, is exactly how you find your authenticity. If you are struggling with finding your authenticity, and kind of what you were saying about how you were thinking about what you want to do, but you're not actually doing it, right? And that fear, I guess you could say, of what people think.
Yeah, it is a fear.
Yeah, how, what are they gonna what do they think of me? How are they gonna judge me? That care that you have personally, the attention that you're placing on that, is contaminating your perception of authenticity, right? In the sense that you're not being you, right? Because when you're being you, there's no fear. It's just flowing naturally. It's flowing naturally. You're not trying to be authentic. How can you try to be authentic? That means that infers
if you're trying to be authentic, that by virtue is making you inauthentic.
It infers that you're applying effort, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And being you doesn't take effort.
It's effortless, right? And that takes no fear. And it's it's crazy because we live in a world full of robots, right? Where they follow the crowd mentality, like we were talking about in the last episode. Tribalism, right? Full circle, man. And it's fear, right? It is good because it drives you out of the depths of hell, right? When you feel threatened, when you feel like you need to survive. But what about that self-image? That what we think of ourselves, right? Kind of like you were saying, if someone comes into a situation where they think let's just say they think they're super hardworking, they want other people to see the same thing that they see, right? And they take themselves really seriously. They care a lot about what other people think. And through other people caring, through them wanting that, right? They're kind of like portraying that outwards, right? And they're not focusing on what they want to do. They're focusing on that crap rather than this. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's interesting because that's like, it just ties all in, you know what I mean? So,
They're projecting an inauthentic self in order to garner validation from external perspective.
I mean, sometimes that's the only way a person can, feed their own ego and like feel good about themselves if they have outside validation. But if we're talking about like authenticity and self-image, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that you could talk about more than my boy right here, Cal. Because, I mean, obviously we've known each other for a very long time. And I remember, I don't really remember when, but you had a really big personality shift is what I know. It happened kind of after high school mostly. I mean, it was definitely more gradual, but like
I know
the person you are in high school and the person you are now are extremely different. Because I talk to a lot of people who haven't seen you since high school, and like they talk about like what you were like before, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, Cal used to do stuff like that all the time, And then like I think about the way you are now, I'm like, man, that guy has changed so much. And everything in a good way.
No,
I mean, like,
not
to say that everything before was bad.
I know what you're saying.
But there was, in some ways, you were an ego-driven person. You did.
Be honest.
You did. There were a lot of points where you did care about like your own self-image, and there was a lot of points where you.
Speaking fucking facts.
It was like you kind of subscribe to like the popularity type of method. Like people. The people who were the most popular in high school, you tended to gravitate towards and
replicate.
And you would kind of you would replicate their the way they dress, the way they talked, and everything about them. It was like, I mean, as you went on, and definitely in high school, it died down a lot more. But I mean,
still there.
we were friends mostly in IAR. It was when we started talking to each other. But I mean, there was always a little thought inside me like, man, Cal's just one of those guys that's like, I just care about what other people think about me. Like the kind of guy that just is like, if I don't look cool to the popular kids, then there's nothing else. But
fact. Okay,
my man has been enlightened. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, listen, we're all enlightened. We're all aware of different things. But listen, like I was talking, like what you just said. Like I don't know if you saw this in the past video.
Yeah, we literally. This is exactly what you were saying.
This is exactly. I brought up a high school experience, right? And remember senior year, we sat, like kind of like in a table, kind of.
Like me, Jahan, and like the lunch table
and stuff. Yep. And you remember how like Lexa Mez would be chilling, like or like the hot, like the upper table.
It would all be in that little section.
So, and so, bro, you know how I had a major crush on her, right? And I was like, oh my god!
I remember your crushes quite fondly because we had lots of fun with that.
So all my attention, like when we were having a conversation like this, all of my attention would be on her. Right? But it would appear as though I'm having a conversation with you. And so my attention would be on her, and I wanted to give my best image possible.
I understand.
Seeing like the best image of me possible, right? And somehow how that could bring us closer together, even though we're not like talking at all, right?
Yeah. It's like a vibe kind of you're giving off, like you're like, I'm having a good time. I'm cool, and I want you to notice so that you think I'm cool.
And it's
a fucking tremendous way of explaining
it. Dude, it's like
that's exactly how it is.
Yeah, man, for real.
It's like you're reaching out with like your emotions and the way you're like
with a feel. You're projecting.
Yeah. You're projecting yourself in that moment onto somebody else.
And
it's
like
weird.
that takes away from our like present moment, right? And that can be applied to so many people. You know, I'm sure it can be applied to you guys. Now, maybe not that like exact situation, but where we think out of the moment. You know, like where we think about like, okay, maybe this is happening. You know, like I want this to happen. This hypothetical circumstance. I want her to see this image of me from her perspective, right?
It's definitely happened to all of us.
Yeah, no,
because
for
the
sure.
fact that we're all able to be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah, I think it's like 99.9% of dudes are like, hey, I like that chick, but I'm not going to tell you that I like you, but you're going to see that I'm
going to act
how I act.
I'm going to act a certain way, and that's going to somehow
attract you, even though you have no idea I even exist right now.
That is the way of the man. The way of the dude.
I meditate to clear that pain up in my body. I wanna go somewhere where that sunlight be shining. This life a journey, I need someone to remind me. This life a journey, I need someone to remind me. To take it slower, I be moving too